been around 2.5 years now since I made my Vortex Viper versus Vortex Venom video. And it's done really, really well, and you guys still to this day are asking questions about it, and I really appreciate it. And I still try to answer as many as I can. However, I just thought that I should probably go ahead and update you guys, since currently I'm not using either of those on any of my main carry guns. So what I wanted to do, and what I've been thinking about doing for you guys for a while now, is making an up-to-date video on the optics that I'm personally choosing to carry and why I'm doing so. So without wasting too much more of your time, we'll get straight into it. I'm primarily still carrying two main carry options. This one being my Glock 45, my main. You guys have seen this before. And if you can tell on it, that is a Holosun 508T. This is the green dot version. I have a pretty bad astigmatism. I pick up on green easier, and certain red dots I just can't use overall. Second option you guys have also seen before. That's the PPQ. And this one has the Holosun 507C Vulcan, the ACSS Reticle, the primary arms exclusive. So yeah, these are the two dots that we're briefly going to be going over today. If you want the short version of this, they're both great. Anybody would be satisfied with either of them. Similar features. There's just a few small differences that I think may sway somebody one way or the other. Again, the best option if you can, why not own both? Put them on different guns. That's what I do. Let's just turn around and go to the table. I'll give you guys a close-up. I'll briefly go over the features, just like how I did last time with the red dots. Obviously, except for this time, these are my current optics and they happen to be green dots. All right, so here we are. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about the similarities that these dots share. Because obviously being from the same company, they're gonna share quite a few things. All right, so on the right, we have the 508T, and on the left, we have the 507C. Let's go ahead and talk about something really cool, and it's one of the main features that I love about the Holosuns is this battery tray. This is a game changer for me. This was a game changer for me, I should say. Rather than mounting on the bottom or even mounting on the top, they chose to mount their batteries in the side panel. Now, these are still not the easiest thing, but you don't want it to be too easy to get out because it has to be waterproof. But putting it on the side was one of the biggest game changers in my eyes, and it's the only or one of the few companies with a red dot this size, or red dots this size, or green dots that are doing it like that. And that was huge for me. They also share the same battery, which is going to be the CR1632 batteries. And if you don't know, you can go on Amazon and get packs of them for like $5. You can just stock up, literally. That's what I did years ago. And I still haven't run through all of my 1632s. So that's beautiful. Transitioning kind of from that is that both of them are going to have their solar panel on the top. So their solar panels you can think of as kind of like a secondary or auxiliary backup. It works beautifully when, like, let's just say, like, if I were to turn out these lights right now, the reticles will switch. You'll see them switch if it's on the right setting where you can actually see it. You could see them switch and they go to they'll switch to battery power. Right now with this much light, they're actually using their solar panels, which is cool. And it doesn't have to be real, like natural sunlight. It can be, I'm using now artificial lights and it's powering them. So that's really cool. Now, probably one of the most, if not the most sought after function on these optics is the shake awake function. Basically, after 10 minutes, the dot will put itself to sleep. At the slightest movement on the firearm or on the dot, it wakes itself right back up immediately. This is a given. Any dot moving on from 2021, heck, from back in 2020 should have shake awake. I don't see a reason why it shouldn't, and it's such a convenient feature. Something they also share, obviously, is going to be their footprint. So let's see if I can pretty much show you that. They're both based on the RMR footprint, and they're both, I mean, let me try to be exact. Look at that. They're both pretty much identical. Yeah. So size-wise, we can play with the height. It's pretty much exact. I don't have to measure it and go super, specific. It's more or less, if you can carry one, you can carry the other. They're pretty much identical in the footprints. Another thing both of the dots share is that they're both IPX7 waterproof. That basically means you could drop them in a meter of water for up to 30 minutes and they'd be fine. So in case you plan on swimming with your red. Okay. Other similar features is the way you obviously zero them. It's going to be the same. Not going to go into too much detail about the clicks and all that good stuff, but just know that they're the same. Also, the buttons are going to be pretty much the same. These are both X2 models. Now to the interesting part. Let's talk about some differences or some things that may make you want to lean towards one or the other. So the major difference, I mean, at a glance, the first thing that everybody should be able to notice is that the finish is different. And the finish is different is because this one is titanium, this one is aluminum. Not only that, the 508T is going to have a squared off finish, as you can see there, which is pretty cool. Whereas the 507C still has that rounded finish. Now, as far as that goes and the design, I honestly love the squared off finish. And that's one of the main reasons, as far as aesthetics, why I liked the 508T. Obviously the titanium and it being super, I mean, just immensely strong. It's almost crazy how strong it is. For those of you who don't know, you can check out Sage Dynamics channel and he will go over the drop test. And both of these passed, I believe, but the 508T obviously is a tank. So there's that. Now another big difference, but not really, but yeah, it is a big difference depending on how you really feel about it, is the battery life. Okay, so let's start with the 508T. The 508T is rated for 50,000 hours on setting 6. Now, on the Vulcan ACSS, it's rated for 20,000 hours. And that's all they say, it's 20,000 hours. Is that a deal breaker for you? I don't know. I'll put it this way. The Vulcan ACSS will last you roughly 2.25 years. Who doesn't change their batteries every year? I don't know. I think everybody at this point kind of makes that a ritual. So is that a deal breaker? I don't know. But the 508T will last you roughly closer to 6 years, honestly. Now that's on setting 6, and to be safe, I always look at this as 5 years and 2 years, just to be safe. Either is fine. I can't imagine getting as lazy not to check this, but I mean, it's great to know. It's great to know that this thing should never, it's just not going to die. So how important is that to you? 2 versus 5? Go ahead and, debate that in the comments. Another major difference, and obviously the selling point of the Vulcan, the primary arms exclusive Vulcan ACSS, I should say, is just that, the reticle, the Vulcan. So let me see if I can get you guys a good shot of this. All right, guys, so here, I know this is a little weird for you, but you can kind of see what the reticle looks like. Mind you, this is closer, so you're actually seeing the outer ring, but I kind of want you to see it. But it is that outer ring that's going to be able to correct you or pull you back to, let's just say, to being on target, or to making sure your chevron, that thing in the middle, is on target when you present poorly. Now, that's why this is a cheat code. The more I extend, the bigger that outer circle gets, to the point where when you present normally, you don't even see it. But if you present poorly, you'll see a bit of that, and I gotta jump back, or I'm presenting high, I gotta jump back down, or I'm presenting low, same thing, gotta jump back. This reticle is absolutely a cheat code. Yeah, it makes it so, you don't want to say it's a beginner, it's great for beginners, because I don't even want beginners to learn on this, because I feel like this is a cheat code for their presentation, for, getting those reps in. But at the same time, if it's a life or death situation and you need to protect your life, this is what I want everybody to have. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Now, mind you, that's coming from somebody who learned how to shoot on irons. And then I've probably been shooting red dots for the past 4 or 5 years. So I have my reps with it, and I never really present poorly. But where this helps a lot too is just one-handed shooting. Everybody is going to present off more if they're using just one hand. So if you're just using your weak hand, or if you're just using your strong hand and you're presenting, and especially if it's like moving targets, oh my goodness, this thing right here, They should ban this in like carry optics. This is yeah, no. Now, as far as the reticle on the 508T, it's pretty much the same thing Holosun's been doing. You can do that. I think it's a 32 MOA circle with a dot in the middle, or you can just do the dot, or you can just do the circle. And I just want to get this out really quick. A lot of people hate on that circle and think there's no rhyme or reason to ever use just the circle. But I tell you what, I use it on my AR, right? And with just a circle, and it's amazing because it presents different and it's bigger. On that the HE510C, the window is so big and you can see everything so clearly with inside that circle. And you know that the way I zeroed it, I know that everything placed in that circle at like 25 to 50 yards is going to be, every shot taken is going to be within that circle. It's amazing to see it happen. Now that's a home defense gun. I'm not shooting anything at 300, 400, 500 yards, right? So in that scenario, it makes that gun super easy. I will be on target, and anything, it makes you shoot faster in a way. It's the same thing with the circle with the dot. It makes you shoot faster because it feels like you're on target faster, and you don't want it doesn't make you necessarily be critical of, let's just say, oh, I have to make sure the dot is on, the bullseye exactly. If it's anywhere within the A zone, you're good. So those bigger circles make you feel faster in a way, because you're like, oh, I'm on. And the whole 32 MOA dot might be the A zone, but hey, you can pull the trigger. So keep that in mind for anybody who's hating on just the circle. Holosun knows why they're doing that. So that's going to be what the reticle looks like on the 508T. And again, remember, this is very close to the actual focal point of the camera, so it's smaller than it actually will be. So here, let me go forward a little bit. Yeah, that's how I use this one. I don't really use the dot as much anymore because I'd rather be quick with really good accuracy than OCD with pinpoint accuracy and, take an extra 2 seconds to take the shot. Oh, and really quick, I know I'm going to get this guy, so I might as well address it now. The truth is my eyes just really don't work well with a lot of red dots, and there's a few that it works well with, and Holosun just happens to be one of the brands that it works with. I have no idea why my astigmatism works differently with different red dots or green dots. I don't know. It just is the case. And it's the case with a lot of people I talk to that have astigmatisms too. So my eyes are extremely bad with RMRs. Go figure. So while we're still on the topic of the actual reticles, let's kind of piggyback off of that and just go about the viewing window. This is something that stood out to me, and I didn't realize how much this would affect which one I use more until I got the 508T. On the 507C, you're going to have this round housing. I didn't mind it. I knew it was smaller than, like, let's just say the Venom overall, the width, but I liked it. It wasn't bad, and I got really used to it. And I present usually very, I don't want to say pinpoint, but it's usually on point. So I don't really mind having a smaller window. With good recoil management, the muzzle flip doesn't go up too much for me. I'm usually able to keep the dot within the window when under recoil. For whatever reason, I don't like the way this shape looks. I know it's standard for a lot of red dots, and I don't like it now, I should say, because for whatever reason, on the 508T, I love this television box. That's what I'm calling it. It looks so natural in the real world, and you get the same height. If anything, you get more corner, because remember, this is rounded on the corner, so you kind of lose your corner view. It feels like it may be a little bit higher in the middle, but the corners you lose. And you know how it is with red dots, or I just should say optics in general. You could put the dot pretty much anywhere, and it's going to, as long as you can see it and when it's on, it's going to hit that target. It's not like irons. So that being said, it makes this, to me, feel a little bit faster, and it just looks a little bit more natural in the real world. Although I know my eyes don't make a TV shape. I'm just used to watching TV. So, so yeah, it's stupid. That's my stupid feature for the 508Ts, but hey, I like it. Now, what's funny about that is if you look at an RMR, although it has that patented cutout at the top, the actual window still has that rounded rainbow design, kind of like the Vulcan ACSS, not the TV box that I've come to love so much. So just shooting this is the first dot that I looked through that I was like, oh, why does this feel different? But I liked it. I really do like it a lot. As far as how these two dots sit, they sit the same. There's nothing different. So in short, I don't want to call the Vulcan a beginner optics because it's, I mean, anybody can use it. Anybody. Like I said, if you're using it strong or weak hand only, you'll find benefits in this, no matter how solid you think your presentation is. And you can always take off the outer reticle, that I think it's like 100 MOA, that huge one, in case you wanted to, let's just say, in case you were training somebody and you didn't want them to have that advantage right away, you know, of bringing it back for whatever reason, if that was the case. The downside is you don't get all the different reticles that the other, that the 508 offer, but I mean, that Vulcan alone is amazing. And with the Vulcan, the way it works is on that chevron, if you zero it properly, let's just say for 9, because I have this zeroed for 9, at the tip of that chevron is going to be where it's zeroed for, I believe it's 25 yards. The inside of it is going to be 50 and the bottom is going to be 100 yards. So you can pretty much gauge any shot right away with the Vulcan once you have it zeroed properly. That being said, it's kind of the same thing with well, at least for me, it's always been the same thing with the 508 or even the regular 507s. Whereas if I'm using the larger 32 MOA circle and I'm shooting something, let's just say close up, I don't put the center dot on it. I put the bottom ring on it, and it usually, if not bullseye, very close. Same thing for distance, you know, you just adjust accordingly. Also to the regular, I guess the regular Holosun reticle setup, you can say too, not just the 508T, you could say that the better you get at your presentation, the less obviously you'll need the bigger ring there. But a lot of times you might just be a little off. And that 32 MOA, you'll still see it. Like, let's just say you're off up and right when you present. You'll see a little bit of that 32 MOA hanging, the ring hanging, you know, and you know to adjust right away. You don't necessarily need that huge Vulcan reticle, that huge circle to bring you back. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So I don't want to say this is advanced and this is beginner. That's not what I'm saying. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is they're both great. Me personally, I'm using the 508T on whatever gun I'm carrying or is my main carry rotation, which right now is my Glock 45 MOS. The reason being, I love the window design, the TV, like I call it. I love the fact that it has the 5 years of life. I love the fact that it's titanium, so it's a little bit, not a little bit, but it's a decent amount more tough than the 507Cs. I'm not going to war with the thing, but it's good to know I can. The 507C is usually on one of my home defense handguns. I always think about scenarios, and to me, this reticle gives you every single advantage. If you make a mistake, if you fumble, you can correct it quicker. It's the perfect home defense. Like if I'm waking up groggy in the middle of the night, something's going down, I would prefer to have this than this, because I'm at a disadvantage just because the element of surprise, just because, you know, me being groggy, whatever. I know that I can make up for some of my shortcomings with that reticle if need be, and the chances are slim, but to know that I can, it's there. This, if I were to get into whatever rough and tumble match on the streets, it would be better being titanium and all that good stuff. So it kind of makes sense the way I'm using it. Not to say that they can't interchange, you know, it's just me having both. I think they excel in little variations in certain features. That's all it is. Lastly, I don't know who this affects, and I don't know if this is the same thing with the red dots, but if you had seen when I was showing you the reticles, for whatever reason, the 507C reticle has more of a, almost like an evergreen look to it. And the 508T tends to be more, not lime, but it's just more towards that greenish yellow green. Along with that though, it does, for whatever reason, look a little bit more HD. I don't know how else to describe it, but everybody who I've shown these to, they say the same thing. Yeah, they can see it. It just looks a little bit more digital HD. I don't know. I don't know if it's a different refresh rate, if something's more advanced in it. I don't know. It just looks a little bit more, not professional. Oh man, it's hard to say it. It has a better look overall, the reticle, in my opinion. The reticle color and the display of the reticle has a better look. Not saying that the 507C's reticle is bad. It just looks super HD on the 508T. And that's pretty much all I got for you on these two red dots. I know I probably missed a bunch of things. I was trying to keep this video short. If you do have any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments below. I'll answer you there. We can go over it there. That's pretty much it for the close-up. Let's go back up top. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I intend on being very engaged with this video for the next coming weeks, months. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. If you have any comments, feel free. I would also like you to like the video. That would be nice. I'll see you guys in the next one.